guys, and welcome to another episode of Box Thoughts. I'm so happy to have you here with me for yet another one of these. So today's episode we're going to be talking about Overwhelmsion, which I'm going to key as a term for this episode because I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist, but it just makes it a little bit easier to explain. Now, dealing with Overwhelmsion is something that everyone goes through and can be very difficult to be able to work through, but it happens to every single person that you may know of. And being overwhelmed happens when you have so much in your mind that you need to do and need to think about, that you don't know where to start and you don't know what to do for each specific thing, and you have to do all of these different things all at once. And it can become very difficult to be able to prioritize all of these different tasks and be able to take the first step when there are so many individual first steps that you need to take. So it comes towards overwhelming you and it puts you into a state of stress. And it can come from needing to balance work and social lives and studies, as well as if you're dealing with any personal struggles or having any assignment or work tasks with a due date on it, or even worrying or planning for your future, when you need to worry about how you're going to handle that today and needing to start planning for it as well. So it can come from a number of different places and all of it can happen all at once. But there are some ways to be able to help you figure out what to do first and help you build that priority. Now, whilst it can be very difficult to start, and oftentimes you may find that once you do start and take that first step, it becomes a lot easier to just keep moving forward the more steps you take. And as your mind becomes more clear, there's more room to be able to work through all these little small things. So you can think of it like cleaning a messy room, where at first glance there's just so much that you need to do and there's a lot of mess everywhere no matter where you look. But once you start in just a small corner or like the easiest little place and you just start decluttering and clearing all that needs to be done there, once you start, you find it a lot easier, and then you can step back and see a massive difference that just that small little corner has made, and you find confidence and motivation to then keep going with the rest of the entire room. So once you start, it becomes a lot easier to be able to keep moving forward because you find that flow and your mind becomes more clear to build new priorities and start going through all these other things that you need to go through. And this brings us to the first quote for this episode, which is, "Don't let the entire staircase overwhelm you. Just focus on the first step." So much like with cleaning the room, whilst there's a massive staircase or there's a lot of work that needs to be done, once you take that first step, once you at least start, that's the biggest task that you've completed, because starting is normally the hardest thing that you need to start with. So once you pass that first step, then momentum and motivation will come automatically. And once you come through to the first step, the next step will automatically follow through and you'll be able to just keep going one step at a time. But the hardest part is starting. Once you do, then everything else will be able to follow automatically. All you need to do is just figure out where to start. Now, one suggestion that I normally provide to people is to use a notepad or a journal or your phone to be able to note down every single thing that you need to do or anything that you need to put effort or put your mind towards. And it could be anything with a due date or anything that you need to do yourself or for someone else. And next to everything, put down a due date if it's there, as well as exactly what needs to be done. And as you come up with different ideas and different thoughts, you can note them down or put it next to each different task, so that when you come through to them, you know exactly what you need to do instead of needing to start from scratch again. But having it all noted down helps you visualize exactly what needs to be done instead of keeping it all in your mind and needing to juggle between them, because if you keep it all as a state of mind, then when you work through each of them, you're constantly thinking like, okay, I can do this, but I also cannot forget about needing to do this, and then before I do that, I also have to do this. Oh, but I forgot about this, and I need to do this as well. And you're constantly juggling 3-4 things all at once, and you don't know where to start. But when you have it written down and visually in front of you, then it helps you being able to see and identify exactly what needs to be done and helps you build priority towards each of the different tasks that you need to work through. So use a notepad use your phone to be able to note it all down and just work through them. Have it as a checklist so that as it comes through you can scratch it off and have that satisfaction that you've scratched it off. And then you can also look back at it at a later date and see everything that you've achieved and everything that's left, and that will help you build that motivation to keep going with the rest of the list. Now, whilst it may seem impossible at first to have so many different things to do all at once, it may seem impossible at first until you do it and you look back and you can see how far you've come. And that kind of brings us to the last quote, which is, "The outcomes showcase that the impossible can be done." So once you go through it and you face all of these adversities and face all of these challenges and you clear your entire list of things that you need to do, you're able to look back and see how far you've come. But you have to face the difficulties first to be able to look back. Otherwise, you'll always be looking behind and never in front. So always just be working through each of the different tasks that you have, work through your list, and eventually you'll be able to look back and see just how far you've come and exactly what you've been able to achieve, and the impossible will seem a lot more doable. But that pretty much brings us to the end of the episode, so thank you so much for tuning in for another one of these, and I hope this helps someone out there. But otherwise, thank you so much once again, take care and have a great rest of the day.